Hello everyone, welcome to another video of mine. It's Commander Belay, and this is another Chelsea transfer news early video for you guys, where I speak about three main stories, three main topics. The first one, which does regard Kai Havertz. Second, Timo Werner, and why there is a delay in the deal. Of course, the announcement is imminent. Hopefully, he should be a Chelsea player very, very soon. Going to speak about Timo Werner, why there is a delay. Going to be speaking about all the latest reports, Kai Havertz, and also Tagliafico being the backup option to Benjamin Chilwell, and what the latest is on our left back. And I'll be giving you guys a left back update. And today's a double upload, so tonight you will be seeing another video. It's going to be a big one. We'll be discussing all like Kai Havertz and the potential competition. So make sure you do stay tuned today. Hit the bell notification, subscribe, smash that like button, and comment down below your thoughts, opinions. But without further ado, let's get straight into this video. And starting off with Kai Havertz, it was broken by the Metro. Now, Metro, English publication, but it was actually, it was essentially quoted from the Athletic. Athletic, we know, are quite reliable. It's a paid subscription. They've got the top journalists on there, Raphael Honigstein, who's that German correspondent. You've got Liam Townley, Nizar Kinsella, David Ornstein. And essentially what the Metro and the Athletic were reporting was that Chelsea and Bayer Leverkusen are reportedly miles apart in terms of agreeing a fee for Kai Havertz. And the German club are in no rush to sell their star midfielder. The Blues are on one of the top clubs chasing the 21-year-old when he basically essentially turned 21 2 days ago after his excellent performances in the Bundesliga. Havertz has 11 league goals and 5 assists this time, have attracted the likes of Bayern Munich, Real Madrid and Manchester United. And according to The Athletic, given the number of teams interested in landing his signature, Chelsea are not considered favourites to sign a midfielder and said to be miles apart from the club and player on sealing a potential deal. Now, the other factor that is involved in this is that Bayer Leverkusen's strong financial position, despite the coronavirus situation. They are in a strong financial position, so they're essentially in no rush to make a deal happen. They're in no rush to sell, just like Dortmund. Means they're under no pressure to offload Havertz and will only sell for the right money. Now, they essentially value Havertz at about above 100 million euros, so north of 90 million euros, which is about 90 million pounds. But the report states that the interested parties may start bidding around 60 million euros, which is around 54 million pounds. Bayern Munich, who have previously thought to be in the lead to sign Havertz, are more focused on signing Manchester City's Leroy Sané, which I'll be discussing further on in this video, not only in this video but also in tonight's video as well. But regarding Leroy Sané, the reason why Leroy Sané is in a thumbnail and why he could be significant for a potential move for Havertz is essentially Bayern Munich's attention, as I just mentioned. Now, Bayern Munich are heavily interested in Leroy Sané. They have been over a year. They couldn't strike a deal last season. But Leroy Sané is very keen to move back to Germany. Lack of playing time at Manchester City, multiple injuries. He's kind of unsettled in the last couple of seasons. He's a German international. That's his home. And Bayern Munich are really, really interested in signing Leroy Sané. I do believe they will be getting a deal done. What makes it more easier and much more fluid for the deal to get done is that Leroy Sané is 1 year left on his contract. So, Manchester City can't command an extortionate amount of money because he's only got 1 year left of his contract. So you're looking around 40 to 50 million pounds, which is an absolute bargain for the marquee, the type of player that Leroy Sané is. He's an astonishing player, fantastic winger, and immediately upgrade Bayern's winger areas department. So I think Bayern Munich will obviously focus their attention on Leroy Sané. There also came out from a Bayern Munich Twitter page that quoted from CF Bayern for Christian Falk, very reliable German correspondent, and also for Bayern Munich when it comes to Bayern Munich news. And they were saying it's unlikely that Bayern Munich will be striking a deal for Kai Havertz this summer because essentially they're focusing on not only Leroy Sané, but they've also got other priorities such as right back to fix. And they don't see Bayern Munich spending upwards of 150 million euros to sort out Leroy Sané, the right back situation, competition for Pavard, and also sign Kai Havertz on top of that, who's also going to command 90 million pounds at least. So essentially, we look at it that way in a financial sense with the COVID-19 situation. It does bring up a lot of questions, especially Muller's performances this season. You wouldn't really suspect Bayern Munich to really go in for Kai Havertz, but I'll be getting into more detail on that in tonight's video. But regarding Chelsea, as the title states, as what the reports are saying, we are not considered favourites and we are not, in the head of the queue. Essentially, we're miles apart. Like I said, Bayern Leverkusen are in a very strong financial position. They don't have to sell unless the price is right, and that's fair enough. He's a German generational talent with so much potential, fantastic, agile dribbler, a world-class midfielder, and only at the age of 21 is going to develop his game, it's going to improve. And I think that he's a fantastic midfielder, and he would upgrade anyone. He'd walk into anyone's team in Europe. And of course, why wouldn't they command around 100 million euros for his signature? Now, obviously, like I said, as the report states, the bidding will start at 60 million euros, as low as 60 million euros. And so Chelsea will essentially work its way upwards. But Leverkusen are trying to strike a bidding war here. They know that multiple European clubs are interested for him, so they want to start a bidding war, which is fair enough. And I think that, as I keep stressing, this still will take weeks, even potentially months for a deal to happen. The Bundesliga has to end first. He's focusing on Bayer Leverkusen. And also on top of that, he needs to consider a decision. It's a big move for him. The wages, the environment, the club, the direction the club is heading in, essentially the project that they're selling. What kind of area they want to be, what they want to compete for in a few years' time, the type of teammates, type of area. He's open to leaving Germany, so we're going to have to wait and see on that one. But this still will take a long time to materialise. Now, like I keep stressing, regarding the Kai Havertz situation, it will take a while. This is not something that can potentially happen overnight. And like I said, we're not considered favourites as of yet. We've just held informal talks. We've contacted his representatives. We have held talks with Bayer Leverkusen, but we haven't offered any wages. We haven't had any official bids for him. And like I said, this will take time. Now, as the Express is stating as well, Chelsea will turn their attention to Kai Havertz as soon as they have got a deal to sign Timo Werner across the finish line. The Blues are just putting the final touches to the agreement, which will see RB Leipzig hitman Werner move to Stamford Bridge this summer, which means we can now swiftly move on to Timo Werner. Now, the reason why I want to speak about Timo Werner is the delay in a potential deal. Now, it was broken by Raphael Honigstein, who writes for The Athletic, very reliable German correspondent, as I stated. Now, he was saying that Werner will be a Chelsea player. That has been confirmed. That will be done. Now, the reason why there's delay in the announcement by Chelsea and RB Leipzig is, number one, RB Leipzig are not on the German stock exchange, so they have no reason to essentially, announced the deal, the departure of Timo Werner. Now, what you're probably wondering, what does that mean regarding German stock exchange? Now, if you're on the German stock exchange, you have to announce deals imminently, because you have shareholders, you have investors in the club that need to know what's happening with the club imminently, all the time. They have to be involved within the club. Now, if you're not announcing anything, that's going to essentially antagonize the investors, and it's going to harm their profit. So you have to always let them know what's happening. Now, because RB Leipzig are not on the German stock exchange, there's no rush to essentially announce a deal. Secondly, the medical. Now, Timo Werner has to get the medical done. Everything is done. The paperwork is done. It's just the medical. He said yes to Chelsea. He's agreed wages. It's the medical, essentially. Now, because of COVID-19 and the German, COVID regulations, Chelsea doctors can't fly out to Germany, because once they fly out to Germany, come back to England, they have to isolate for 14 days, and doctors were unable to work for 2 weeks, and that will cause other issues. Timo Werner can't fly to Chelsea, because once he comes to Chelsea, he'll have to isolate for 2 weeks, and the Bundesliga is ending in 2 weeks, and RB Leipzig need Timo Werner to end the season and push for Champions League. Now, the third other option is essentially flying the German doctors to the UK to, get Timo Werner's medical done. But again, that raises other issues, because they have to isolate for 14 days. So there's all these issues. So the only way they can work around this is essentially the German doctors, the German FA, doing Timo Werner's medical and sending the reports over back to England, where they can have a look at the medical reports, have a look at the results, and that way the medical can get completed. And then once the Bundesliga season ends, Timo Werner can then fly to England and essentially complete the paperwork and officially sign the contract. That's why the delay is there. But not to worry, Timo Werner will be a Chelsea player. That's it's just the announcement. That's literally, it's the announcement. So, like I said, as a Telegraph report, and Chelsea putting the final touches on their move to sign Timo Werner ahead of an anticipated announcement. So, it's just about patience. Now, various reports are stating 48 hours. Like I said, take it with a pinch of salt. No one really knows when the announcement will be done, so it's going to take time. But getting into the final story for today is, again, reported by the Telegraph, English publication, and it is regarding our left-back situation. Now, Chelsea may consider a move for Ajax's Nicolas Tagliafico, who they've been told they'll be able to sign for £22.4 million if Benjamin Chilwell valuation fails to drop. Now, we know that Ben Chilwell has been a long-term Chelsea target and admirer of Frank Lampard. He's been our first-choice target for pretty much the whole season. Frank Lampard wants him. And the issue has always been a valuation gap between what Chelsea want and what Leicester want. Now, we know Leicester are very notorious for tough negotiating skills. They want to command around 75 to 80 million pounds, and there's no way Chelsea would ever pay that for that fee. It's not justified. So especially in this coronavirus time, the COVID situation, it's not justified. So, you know, Chelsea wants a valuation to drop, and they're looking at around 45 to 50 million pounds. Now, according to various reports, because of the coronavirus situation, Leicester may actually essentially give in and drop their valuation to around 50 million pounds, as Jack Rosser, a journalist, has stated that given Benjamin Chilwell's desire to move to Chelsea and the impact of the coronavirus on transfer market, Leicester could be forced to accept close to the Chelsea £50 million valuation. So Leicester also working on replacements. It will take time. It will take time. But as a Telegraph reporting, you know, Ajax Tagliafico is at backup option, £22.4 million, which I believe is a cheaper option and a better option. And if Chilwell's valuation fails to drop and it's looking like Leicester are really reluctant to sell, then Chelsea will swoop in for Tagliafico. So Chelsea are really intensifying at left back spot. Let's wait and see what happens. But that's going to wrap up Chelsea transfer news early video for you guys. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to my channel if you are not here. Don't forget to hit the bell notification and comment down below your thoughts, opinions in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys for my next video. Peace.